keeping players engaged.
So yeah, I mean, a recurring theme that's going to be part of this discussion is gamification. That is a popular way these days to keep players engaged. In terms of gamification, you know that we have sort of borrowed trends from other industries. If you look at like fitness trackers and how they've been used to introduce the social aspect of monitoring fitness and gamifying that for the users of fitness trackers. If you look at how the video games were one of the pioneers in this industry in terms of gamification, in terms of the levels they introduced on completion. So, keeping that in mind, Nikolay, if I may start off with you, uh, how would you define gamification, and if you can bring the whole game provider perspective to this, like how would you integrate gamification into your games?
Yeah. So thank you. I'm happy to kick off the discussion on gamification. Of course, gamification has a tremendous importance for us right now. And yes, we are looking into integration, this process of gamification into everything. And but if you look into the history of slot games and casino games, it was a development in, like, so to say, in spiral for the next level, and it started to be very basic games and with very simple and intuitive gameplay. So because we simply started to play for money, and this is the player need to understand how it works, how he wins. So yeah, what's going on. And then it was a certain level of complexity adding on it, like with visual elements, with the gear elements of, I don't know, starting like movies or 3D, whatever. But it still was not too much accepted by the industry because it's getting more and more complex. And this is what we are doing. We are trying to find the balance and to be like on the edge, how to keep the player more engaged and to be the game more interesting, but not to be still to keep it easy to understand. And the perception should be like it's a game where they can win and not something is happening and you don't understand why and what. That means that yes, we are adding those elements, but I think that the key for us is to be in a good connection with our operators, the platforms, so all the verticals, to understand what they want games to be and how they want to perform with those games. So that's that's a multiple layers in it. So that's how we exchange information, how we observe the behavior. But I think it's like it's my turn to give the words how our colleagues manage the process.
Yes, thank you for that. Um, so for me, gamification is not something new. Of course, it has been around even before the technology. Right now, with all the toolings and technology that we have, it's really something that defines the user experience. And from a sales point of view, it's very convenient and very important to embed it in the loyalty program. So the loyalty program is still very central point of sales, and it has to be enhanced with all kinds of tools that right now are available. So this means that the player needs to return. So any kind of loyalty incentive, something that you give back, so he returns again. So it really is around that idea, and with all the technology tools we have, we just explore that. So this is, for me, the core of the gamification,
So,
right?
Alexander, if I could follow up on that, could you give some examples? Because from a platform perspective, how did gamification has been implemented? If you give some examples of that, and how are they measured in terms of success?
Yes. So in the platform and specifically in the CRM, there are many tools of gamification tools, so to say. The let's say the base layer, it's you define a gameplay. So the gameplay is missions, is a quest. With missions, you complete missions and you have a reward. So it's something that can be gamified in many ways, and it can be gamified uh, with a lot of tools. For example, in-game play, the platform and the game provider can integrate. So it can enforce the loyalty program with coins. Let's say it can enforce with um, any other incentives, which is experience points, levels, and so on. So it's up to this is the base layer, and on top of that you have all kinds of promotional tools that you can implement. But let's keep to gamification. Just the gameplay, the tooling is just the base layer that needs to be.
Okay.
For me, I think gamification is the bottom line is we need to get players engaged, to keep player loyalty.
Yeah.
And what you have mentioned earlier, balance, it is really important because if you to have a lot of, let's say, well, in video gaming, daily tasks, making a deposit to get an extra bonus, place a $10 bet on sports books to get something else. It's a very delicate balance. And as you were mentioning earlier, developers also need to speak to platforms and to operators to get feedback. So I look at it as it's like a funnel. So in order for us operators to provide you with good information on what to build next or what kind of next gamification can be done, we will be the best frontliners for to provide you with this information. So
So, but Bhavesh, because if you could give us the operator perspective, because you run several brands in Asia. I mean, what are like the challenges and opportunities that you see when you have to implement gamification into your brands, into your the play experience?
So following up on that earlier, because the easiest way for an operator to get feedback from players is either through customer service, live chat, telesales, emails, but not all players would actually respond to that. So we actually rely heavily on our affiliates because affiliates know their own players. They usually have their own groups, be it in social media groups or Telegram groups or messaging groups. So we rely heavily on our affiliates. I started from an affiliate background, so my pure passion is an affiliate. I believe it is extremely important to put focus and take care of affiliates because they can provide you with feedback that is liquid gold. And from that, we get that information, we dissect it, we go through it, and then we can provide it to platforms and game developers so that they can build something better to help us to get more players.
Okay.
So that, and as I mentioned earlier, balance was really important. So we, as an operator itself, we are also facing that difficulty. Um, when I find that sweet spot, I will be more than happy to share it with you guys. But I've yet to find that sweet spot.
We are waiting whenever you do. Nikolay, you tell us a little bit about this. I mean, in developing games. Into slot games in particular. I mean, how has the video game industry like, sort of permeated into the slot game industry? Like, what elements from video games do you think have possibly come into the into slots, and how is that improving play engagement?
Okay, thank you. Great question. And that's a little bit back to the previous discussion. So, if you define what is the game, the process of creating a game, I would say that's like it's a merge of some art and science. So, and the art is what our artists came up with an ideas, observations, creative parts, whatever. But the science is about the whole line of customer feedback. In the end of the day, we need the game that would be accepted by the audience. So that's greatly defined what we can have. So we have some pieces. I would be honest and straightforward with you. So we have our pieces of information. Sometimes the pieces mentioned by operator are missing for us because we do not have access to the Telegram chats, customer support, whatever. We can only analyze big data and everything connected with the usage of our games. So Regarding video elements, yes, we tried many of them, and this is already incorporated into the slot games. I would say that more in this direction is, so to say, innovation in our industry, which is like spin-offs, I would say, from traditional slots. So that's very beginning. The very beginning, that was bonus games, like included games, something like that. So which has more in common with computer games. And now it's, of course, it's new trends like fishing games and crash games. All of them, they are more based, I think, on video game.
Thank you. Okay, Alexander, when you guys are like conceptualizing a new feature, I mean, in terms of the platform or ideating, is there a process you guys follow, like from ideation to design to see metrics, like what will work? How are you measuring whether a feature works or not? I'm talking more product perspective right now. How does that work for you guys?
First, thank you. So first we listen to the operators. It's a very important feedback because we as a software creator, we are not in operating business. So operator feedback is crucial. And usually the operators come with the first ideas about implementing gamification. So it really comes to that first. And then we try to visualize the idea. And then our design is the second. So we have a good team of designers, creative directors. It might sound weird for you that we are developing CRM, but we actually come design first, but it's really like that. Because we know, of course, content is the king, games is the king. We don't want to mess in any of things, but we are crucial to the operators to actually realize and actually to implement their strategy towards the players. So then we make a design about user interaction, UI, UX. Sometimes we develop mini games. So this is very important, for example, for gamification mini games. Those are spin the wheel, whatever. So like dozens of games, because every operator has different idea what to, let's say, play for the summer. You know, they might want summer calendar, they might want Christmas calendar with every day opening a new bonus, let's say, or something like this. So that's why the design is very crucial for the idea. Then we present to the operator, and then is the rest, the development. But yeah, so it's really goes like this every time, and it works well for our clients.
Bhavesh, I mean, I'm not sure that you guys have your in-house or platform or you have a third party. But say your platform came to you saying that they introduced a new feature, maybe a new, it could be anything, a new loyalty program, a new way, or, whatever it is. How do you guys approach it? Do you straight away go and market it, push it to all your client base, existing player base, or do you like maybe to a part segment, like test it out, see how that's going? How do you guys approach it as a brand, as an operator?
For us, we would actually test it with a few of our affiliates who have many strong players and players that we know are very active in giving us feedback. We usually test it with them. We'll get their feedback and see what they think about it. Is it good? Is it bad? What can be improved? And then we would roll it back to the platform provider, and there'll be discussions back and forth on how to adjust it. But once the feedback is good, then we will actually just roll it out and keep our fingers crossed and see, hope for the best. That's the only way.
Nikolay, if you could just shed some light on how do you balance gamification versus responsible gaming? So, I mean, that's always a very contentious discussion. I mean, how far can you go? How thin can you push the needle? So, yeah.
Thanks for asking. It's a very easy question to me because I will like push it a little bit away from me. We are providing tools. So we are a tool set for platform and operator to use. So, and of course, we are trying to develop as many as possible of techniques and methods they can use, but it's still on the side of an operator what kind of them they want really to implement. That's why this question of responsible gaming is not really about us. So it's more like in cooperation and collaboration with operators. But yeah, of course, we do not do too much, yes, but it's up to them to decide.
Yeah, actually, that's true. When it comes down to responsible gaming and also, how does it, controlling underage gaming, it's always been a very, how do you say, it's always been a passion of mine to ensure responsible gaming, even though in Southeast Asia it is not really enforced, but I believe it comes down to the operator to do a good job. That's why we always ensure proper KYC. Our risk and fraud team is really, my hats off to them, because they are really good at catching fake IDs and all of that. Just the other day itself, they were able to. I have no idea how they did it, but they were good to the point that they found someone who was using a third player's bank account to deposit and all of that. So it comes down to the operator, yes, and me as an operator, I really, not to say push the responsibility, but I rely heavily on my KYC and my risk and fraud team. So to any operators out there, your risk and fraud and your KYC team has to be top notch. If not, you're gonna get in trouble.
Alexander, we're coming to the closing moments here. So, where do you see the future? I mean, in terms of what are the emerging trends in gamification from a platform perspective? What are you guys working on?
Okay, so yeah, the big hype is artificial intelligence right now for everybody. So we are not foreign to this, and yeah, we've been working to implement some concepts. And when it happens to AI, there will be no interesting stuff coming up for the people. I mean, emotionally, because AI is just another technology which is going to do what one technology does, to make as effective as possible one business. So it's a race of effectiveness. You know, automation. There is nothing more that's going to happen in the next years, and we need to, of course, go with this trend by implementing tools that's going to automate out the human from certain part of the boring, let's say, let's say from the boring part of the operator. So it happens with the gamification and CRM and everything. Usually, one operator wants to cut 80% of their costs and to have a job to operate from the Maldives or somewhere else. So this is going to be something that is going to happen in the next few years, and we are helping to the operators to achieve that goal.
Bhavesh, if you could share any technique that sort of yielded positive value for you guys. Any example that you could, and then you could even touch about where do you see the future, like.
Well, previously was mentioned spin the wheel. That's actually really popular because it's simple. It's anyone can understand it, and you see something spinning there. It's colorful. It keeps your attention on. So and spin the wheel is actually really good. And also what I mentioned earlier, those small like daily tasks. I call it daily tasks, but that's actually the wrong term. I mean, like place a deposit of. Just place a deposit and get X bonus, and then you can actually. We always use this sort of daily task to actually introduce new games as well. So that's really effective in keeping player engagement because they don't really get bored. They will want to pursue and finish their daily tasks and like, hey, there's a new game, I'll try it out. And for the future, I I personally think AI would play a very, very big role. I doubt it's going to replace humans, but it will play a very big role in the future. I, I, I think we are very near to where we can operate as operators, cut our costs when it comes to live support, letting AI do it all. Because even now, if you go to many websites, they have AI, but it's still a bit buggy. If you were to write certain weird questions or something like that, like, I don't understand. Could you repeat your question? But AI will reach to the point where if I were to just speak gibberish or in this local slang, the AI will understand. And from an operator's point of view, that would really help us because then I wouldn't need 24/7 live support staff. So that one I believe would be the responsibility would be on you guys to help push that. But I mean, if it reaches to the point where it can replace a person, it'll be much more effective. It will in a way suck because that person will be out of job. But as an operator and to our responsibility towards our investors, we need to keep an eye on the bottom line.
We hope that person has something else to do. Nikolay, what are closing comments from you? Where do you see the future gamification of games in particular? How do you see it going?
So that's nice to talk from the stage about exciting and hype things like the guys did, but I would say we are more down to earth. So, and as a game provider, we're a bit conservative. So I think the coming trend, and not a coming trend, but what we see right now on the market and in the industry is just more about regulations. And it's really boring, but I think for us, it's more important to squeeze all those exciting things into the regulator guidelines. So because you want to do a lot of stuff, but they say, no, 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 you can't do it because it's not allowed. So, and this is, it depends on a regulator, it's country by country. It's, of course, a bigger scene in Europe already, so it's coming to Asia, and we all understand that it's really coming. But I think it's good for everyone, and this is what we do in our day-to-day job. So we just want to pick up the most exciting things and put it into the games, but still be a very conservative game provider with stick to the what is the most important, what's the matter most.
Thank you, Nick.